Not all video games are original ideas. Sometimes they're adaptations, inspired by other amazing work out there in the pop culture ether, which from a marketing standpoint definitely helps turn a profit if you've already got a fanbase. One of those inspiration avenues commonly traveled is that of anime. There's a ton of awesome video games that are adaptations of famous anime shows, so today we're taking a closer look at 10 of them with our list of the top 10 video games based off of anime. At number 10, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Let's talk a little bit about a game franchise here. Based off of a manga that turned into an anime that then turned into a video game, the plot to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure follows a family who all discover that they're fated to defeat supernatural foes with unique powers that they possess. So where does the name JoJo come from? It's an abbreviation of the family's name, Joestar. The game was aptly an RPG adaptation, released back in 1993, and since then there were also several fighting games released, like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battle, which came out in celebration of the franchise's 25th anniversary. Recently in 2017, a new JoJo game was released called Diamond Records, a 3D action game that mainly consists of quests based on the series' story. It's single player and uses a free-to-play mode, which by March 2017 had gotten it over 2 million user accounts registered to play. And at number 9, Digimon Rumble Arena 2. While the graphics by our standards today are definitely outdated, there's still a certain charm to Rumble Arena 2 that is undeniable. First off, it's a fighting game, which let players face off against Digimon who appeared from over 3 seasons of anime. You could also digivolve mid-fight, which added a different element of strategy to your battles beyond just button mashing. And there's even some mini-games to boot, although none of them were really as solid as the main gameplay itself. And at number 8, Gundam Versus. Released in 2017, Gundam Versus is the 5th generation in the Gundam Versus series, with this one being for the PS4. It features 2 vs 2 and 3 vs 3 online team battles, with each playable suit having its own unique weapon system. With a focus on action-packed melee combat both online and off, the mechanics are complex and allow players to engage in addictive, fast-paced, intense battles. That being said, many players found the controls a bit unresponsive, and the offline gameplay to be seriously lacking. Much of the previous single-player modes that appeared in previous games in the franchise have been removed too, and that overall the game lacked depth. So what do you guys think? Have you played it? Let us know your thoughts in those comments below. Up next at 7, Yu-Gi-Oh! Worldwide Edition Stairway to the Destined Duel. So, guilty pleasure here. I used to play this 2003 game religiously on my Game Boy Advance back in the day. The focus of this game is the cards. Now if you're looking for an RPG adaptation, this definitely may not satisfy that craving. That being said, for Yu-Gi-Oh! Fans, it definitely fits the satisfying bill if you're a fan of the card game itself. Speaking of which, you play as yourself, working your way up as you build your deck and face off in a tournament-style competition against some of the franchise's most notable characters. Up next at 6, Sword Art Online Hollow Fragment. The manga and anime Sword Art Online is set in an alternate future in which an MMORPG VR game called Sword Art Online is released, which allows players to put on a helmet called Nerve Gear that stimulates your senses in order to experience and control their in-game characters. Pretty neat. The story starts off with 10,000 players logging into the mainframe for the first time, only to discover that they can't log out, and must complete a certain part of the game in order to be released. Anyone who dies in the game or tries to remove the Nerve Gear dies in real life. So of course that premise is pretty lending to the likes of an actual video game. While the game got rave reviews in Japan, the English version didn't do overly well. The combat was great, but the rest of it did suffer from some pretty bad translation issues. And at number 5, Attack on Titan. I'm sure many of you who are fans of Attack on Titan have at some point thought, wouldn't this make an awesome video game? Well, that dream became a reality with the 2016 game of the same name. Developed by Omega Force, the game manages to capture the essence of the show quite well. It's fast-paced and bloody, just like the anime, and aesthetically its style matches up. The plot revolves around the events of the first season of the anime, although at points it felt that it skimmed over some of the finer details. There are initially 10 playable characters with only 3 that can be selected at a time. The game has had some mixed reviews. Some critics have called it an excellent example of a passion project made right, whereas others felt that structurally the narrative had some pretty tedious lulls. Regardless of what you think, a sequel is set to be released in 2018. Up next, number 4, Astro Boy Omega Factor. A game for the Game Boy Advance released back in 2004, Omega Factor incorporated multiple elements from Astro Boy's various incarnations, including touching on the concept of robot rights, the Antarctica robot city of Robotnia, characters from the entire canon of Astro Boy manga, and Dr. Tenman's ultimate plan for the protagonist. Aside from having a dynamic and vivid narrative, the game was praised for its graphics, calling them a delight for the senses, a technical marvel, and stating that the environments were beautiful and look as if they were built to be admired, not just walked through. And at number 3, Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm 4. Released in 2016, Ninja Storm 4 received rave reviews, with critics calling it a game that fans of Naruto would love. Many of the outdated gameplay mechanics from the previous entries in the series have been removed and placed with more efficient ones. The visual touches and character interactions were compelling and stylistically accurate, and the fighting was indulgent and exciting. Fluid and seamlessly executed, the game was capable of gripping hardcore fans and newbies alike, and it's definitely worth checking out. And at number 2, Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3. The Dragon Ball Z Budokai series are fighting games based on the hit anime show of the same name, minus the Budokai. And similar to the anime, the game focuses on what Dragon Ball Z really does best, providing kick-ass fights. Budokai 3 has gotten the highest reviews out of all of the games in the series, specifically for forwarding the series' gameplay beyond just graphics and presentation. Released back in 2004, it's largely dated these days, but still worth noting for its gameplay depth and addictiveness. It had all of the qualities you'd expect for a well-rounded immersive fighting game, minus an online component. And finally, in our number 1 spot, Dragon Ball FighterZ. Speaking of Dragon Ball Z, let's flash forward over a decade later and take a look at the most recent installment of the Dragon Ball Z gaming franchise. Described by IGN to be fast, fluid, and cerebral, the game features easy-to-learn controls that allow players to really bring their most vicious and chaotic A-game to the battlefield, just like the characters do in the anime. It's arguably the prettiest anime video game adaptation to date. Arguably. And for fans, the story mode pairs off characters in an appropriately indulgent way. The dialogue and exchanges between the characters are enough to get any serious fan hyped. Plus, there's 24 playable characters you can choose from, which all have their own distinct feel in battle. Alright, there we have it, friends. What anime show do you wish had been adapted to a video game? Were there any games on this list that you think could have had a better adaptation more fitting of the source material? Let us know your thoughts in those comments below. As always, if you dug this video, please hit that like button and subscribe if you're new. And don't forget to check out more gaming vids on our channel like the ones in our playlist flashing on your screen right now. In the meantime, thanks for watching. I've been Kelly Pally and this is Top 10 Gaming. Catch you all in the next one.